Support the channel on patreon.com/manlightfoot.
Who is your favorite fearless hero? Who is your favorite fearless hero?
It's Jefe, man.
Dreamworks released their, let's face it, not long awaited sequel to their spin-off franchise Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. A film that came off the heels of a movie that most felt was okay or didn't really know what to think of it. Full disclosure, I thought the first film was fine. Hearing sequels coming did leave some doubts, but thankfully the trailer alone quelled those doubts fast. Just the energy coming off of it and the style the trailer was showing easily made this a movie I needed to see. Honestly, it's weird to talk about it now since it's been out for well over some months. Everyone's dropped their piece on it, praising it to high heaven. Even the bestie offbeat Kiki got some heat in the works for you all. So what really can be said by me? Well, I can just give you the rundown of what works so well about it and my favorite aspects to it. The premise revolves around Puss in Boots living a carefree life to the point that he's living very arrogantly. One day he gets crushed and finds out that his carefree living cost him 8 of his 9 lives. He soon gets chased by this mysterious wolf character that proves he's stronger than any foe Puss has ever faced. This makes Puss retire and hide out at a cat lady's house, meeting a dog that's pretending to be a cat. You know, that old story. One day, Goldilocks and the Three Bears show up looking for Puss and mentions this magical thing called the wishing star. Puss gets the idea to wish for his lives back and sets out with his new dog companion and old bitter flame Kitty Softpaws. This movie definitely goes beyond the expectations you would have for it. The Shrek franchise hasn't had the best track record, with the first 2 being good, the 3rd being whack, and the 4th getting some goodwill back, but not being as strong as the first 2 films. Then a spin-off that most thought was okay, but unnecessary, added on that the studio's been in a bit of a slump for some time. Let's face it, a lot of the movies that they were releasing were just in the, okay, that exists side. Nobody cared about Abominable. I had to be like the only one in the theater going to see that movie. It was a very empty theater. But this film had so much to make up for, and it does that tenfold. But you all already knew that with it doing pretty well off of just word of mouth, which bravo to you people. This is a movie that was a showcasing of DreamWorks experimentation. With their earlier release of Bad Guys, which was a damn good film, they've shown that they got their spark back. Puss in Boots' arc in this instantly gets you on board. You know where it's gonna go, but it makes it clear that it's all about how the story unfolds. He's a fun-loving guy, but his arrogance gets in the way of his happiness. You see, the lives he lived all have different personalities, but the same egotistical attitude. He had to be on his last life because he needed to see that he's not living up to his true self. He was missing what was right in front of him: companionship. Now, maybe that's not how some of you interpret it, but that's something I felt was how they were telling this story. I'm fairly certain a few of you probably thought it's just a simple story of,
Sit down, be humble.
I don't know, let me know in the comments of what you think of this story. But the greatness of this film doesn't stop there. Just about all of the characters here are fantastic. The little dog that joins Puss is so well done. Yes, I'm not telling the name. No, I won't tell you why. Usually you have an excitable sidekick character that might make you want to put a pencil through your ear, but they make him sweet and innocent and actually reel in his antics. He's not made as a nuisance that holds everyone back or gets in the way. He feels like someone who's very necessary in order for the character's journey to be complete. The moment with him calming Puss down from a panic attack to me puts him as the best sidekick character in animated films. There's no jokes or anything in that moment, and it drives it all home perfectly. Plus, you can't help but feel bad for him since his former owners tried to drown him like a kitten. Kitty Softpaws is also pretty fun with how she basically is 2 steps ahead of Puss or gets his goat sometimes, but they don't leave her as just an overconfident type. She has the problem of not being able to trust anyone, and that being her only wish to have someone to trust. It's all about the personal journey that these characters go on that makes this film feel so good. And what also works here with both Puss and Kitty is that they both work in this story alone. Like, you don't have to watch the first Puss in Boots movie in order to just get right off the bat who these characters are and what they're all about. It really stands alone as its own film that you could just enjoy at any point in time. You don't have to watch all the Shrek movies to even watch this, honestly. But then you get to the bad side of things. Oh, no, I don't mean that these are what makes the movie bad. I'm saying they're the villains, and man, are they good. Shut up, you know what I mean. Goldie and the Three Bears actually became my favorite part of the movie. They're a crime family, but what makes them great is that they are an actual family. They do genuinely care for each other, which is different from the old fairy tales. They just have such a genuine bond you like to see. I got really invested in their story of wanting to find the wishing star, since it's more about Goldie finding her real family. You know what the outcome is going to be, but you care about the characters to want to see it through. I actually cried the first time I saw the conclusion to their arc. It was just done so well, and I was just so invested in everything going on with them. That genuine sense of love that they have for each other puts things into perspective that villains can be sympathetic without having them go extreme. But this film also likes to have its cake and eat it too. Jack Horner is a villain who gains no sympathy. He's the embodiment of irredeemable. Just a guy who wants to take over the world and cause misery because he can. That's what's been missing from animated films for so long, honestly. He ain't no twist villain or villain that's right about what they say but wrong about their actions and going about it. Just a monster through and through, and I welcome him at a distance with open arms. Now, you got the wolf who makes it clear he's a force to be reckoned with. His call sign just sends chills down your spine.
I think I just myself.
If you ain't need to change your pants after hearing that, then you at least have your hair raised. He's a villain that hits a mark for many wanting a straight badass that can't be stopped. And then just the way he talks just invokes that Tim Curry voice that you just love to hear. It's like, oh, it's just ear candy. Like every word he says just vibrates in your ear and you're about to experience an eargasm. What, am I the only one that had that experience? Whatever. All of these villains hit a particular mark that's so impressive to see pulled off in a movie with so many characters. That's a level of writing that is amazing to see pulled off. It's fantastic to note that none of them stop being villains either. They stay bad. So you gotta love it just for that aspect, to keep everyone a villain. Nobody's exactly full on redeemed or anything. So many characters, but you're invested in each and every one of their stories. Maybe some more than others, or maybe all at once. Not one story feels like a waste of time. But the big cherry on top with this movie is the animation. These people saw into the Spider-Verse and had a straight up epiphany and used that to push the envelope. There's this softness to the textures that makes this a gorgeous film to look at. You get some really good usage of the camera that just makes it a wild ride when the action gets going. You know you're in for a treat in the opening sequence, because by God, do they start off with a bang. There's so much that didn't need to be done, but you appreciate that they did it. Just this one-shot moment towards the end is so good, I was just in awe at the stuff they would pull off. The frame rate drops that they do bring a bit of style to it that I think helps differentiate it enough from other movies that try to use this style. This movie even proves why it needs to be PG. Too many times have we seen movies that get a PG rating and nothing in it justifies that. This has blood, it has cursing, it has crude humor, it talks about death and the consequences that come with it. It does not talk down to its audience and puts in front and center that this is a serious subject. It earns its rating, which is something I wish more animated movies did. We are in good standing with Dreamworks movies now. This was something that before the trailers didn't have much hyped around it, but then it showed why it needed to be made. The characters are all funny with super compelling arcs that makes you want to see them through to the end. Villains are case studies on how to do different types of villains and making them work. The animation is phenomenal and a true treat that pushes what can be done with 3D animated films. It's been praised by everyone, and I give it the same praise as it deserves. It's a true tour de force that earns being called people's #1 movie of the year.